Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Ajila binti Idris. My metric number is 066134.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mama Shukri bin Syahari Burhanuddin. Metric number is 066558.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Siti Khadijah binti Mulyati and my metric number is 066614.
What is a sourdough bread? Sourdough is a leavened bread, which means it doesn't use commercial yeast to rise. Sourdough bread is a bread made by the fermentation of dough using white yeast and lactic acid bacteria, which is lactobacillus bacteria. It is one of the oldest forms of grain fermentation. White yeast is more resistant to acidic condition than baker's yeast, which allows it to work together with lactic acid bacteria to help the dough rise, while the lactic acid bacteria provide the sour flavor in the form of acetic acid and lactic acid and preserve the bread by lowering its pH. Experts believe it originated in ancient Egypt around 1500 before century and remained the main method of leavening bread until baker's yeast replaced it a few hundred years ago. Sourdough has been around longer than most other bread. Although the term sourdough is a new one, it started before commercial yeast and mass production were introduced in the 9th century. Based on the table, there are some differences between sourdough bread and white bread. It shows that sourdough bread has many benefits compared to white bread.
First ingredients is unbleached flour. Flour is the most important item in bread making. The second ingredient is important in diluting the flour. And third ingredient is rye flour. Rye flour is a flour that usually comes in brown color. So let's move to the steps to make sourdough starter. First step is add 100 gram rye flour and 150 ml water into the glass jar and mix evenly. Second is let the mixture rest for 1 day and cover it with the loose fitting lid. Third, discard the mixture until 17 gram left and add 515 gram rye flour and unbleached flour and 115 ml water and let it rest for 1 day. Fourth, repeat step 3 and let it rest for 1 day. And fifth, repeat previous step but with 100 ml water only and let it rest for 1 day. And the last is your sourdough starter is finished. Then for bread making, just proceed with usual bread recipe but replace yeast with our sourdough starter.
In sourdough, there are two types of fermentation occur, which are lactic acid fermentation and alcoholic fermentation. This fermentation occur when the flour and water were mixed and produce yeast and lactic acid bacteria. The high concentration of glucose from the flour will metabolize by the lactic acid bacteria and yeast. Alcoholic fermentation occur when the yeast were metabolized in the sourdough. The yeast will turn sugar in the starch to ethanol and carbon dioxide. This happens because the carbohydrate ferment by the glycolysis and further to pyruvate. This fermentation process will impact the sourdough properties such as tightening and gluten network. Then, lactic acid fermentation. This fermentation occurs due to presence of lactic acid bacteria that is lactobacillus bacteria. There are two types of lactic acid bacteria occur. First, homofermentative bacteria will produce lactic acid in the sourdough. Then, heterofermentative bacteria that produce acetic acid, carbon dioxide, and ethanol. The pH of sourdough must be lowered in the range of 3.5 to 3.7. The pH of sourdough cannot be in the range of 4.2 due to the condition of pathogen were easy to grow.
In conclusion, sourdough has great potential as tool for the development of good quality gluten-free bread as the above studies indicate. However, investigation on the use of sourdough in gluten-free breads are only at the early stage and extensive work is needed in order to better understand the specificity of certain species and strains and the impact of sourdough on the structure and texture of butters and breads from gluten-free formulations.